Hey black women, I just wanted to do this video real quick to shed a little I guess like old woman wisdom on the dislike of some older women not preferring the term auntie. Okay. Now, originally this term, right, auntie, is usually used by African people in their culture and sometimes certain Caribbean people, and in French speaking cultures only when there are, for French speaking cultures for black people, only when people are assigned like godmothers and godfathers on a normal basis, right? So the term auntie in America is offensive to older people who, like me, right, who come from different kinds of backgrounds than the general black people that want to go along with trends and just feel like anything that started on any type of social media is automatically a go. They subscribe to it without any consideration of etiquette, personal consideration for the individual you're speaking to, basically a lack of respect. Now, although you may think it is a level of respect because you feel like calling an assumed person you don't know, who you think may be older than you, or even who, if you literally know they are auntie, right? You have to understand that there are rules to etiquette in every society. And you cannot use terms that everyone else has used as a term of endearment or some type of trend or fad without understanding or even just basically doing what etiquette dictates, and ask the person if they would like to be called this or that. It's really that simple, because I had like skimmed through that video of Jackie Aina. I finally found out who this woman was, right? And I was listening to her take of it. But my thing is, you don't have to explain to people what you don't want another person to call you. That's called respect. And this goes back to the issue of most black women with others. You need to learn to respect one another the same way you respect white people, religion, and things that you admire or think are superior to you. And I mean exactly what I just said. Because I don't like that term either. And you're fully aware of the fact that I'm very proud of my age, because it shows a level of disregard for the other person you're speaking to. And it's like you're putting them in a lower perspective or position than you, as if you're looking down on them and saying like, oh, I'm in possession of this limited amount of youth right now, and na you don't. And it has nothing to do with respecting people older than you, because honestly, the way the rules of society are set up in America, not Africa, because even though we are African descendants, Africans make it very clear to us that they do not accept us as being African, because they like to pride themselves very much on what they believe is something they have that we don't, which is culture, which is totally wrong, because we have our own culture. Because clearly none of these people understand the meaning of culture or the meaning of origin, right? So our culture would dictate that you respect people by their social society standing. Like, if you're not a married woman, you are to be referred to as Ms. or Miss. Mrs. is held for married women. So if you are a young girl, you are a Miss, M-I-S-S. If you are a little bit older and you're not a Mrs., you are Miss. Not ma, not ma'am, not any of that street shit, but Miss. And if you are a younger girl, you are a Miss. Miss, Ms., and Mrs. That's how it goes in America, right? All right. Outside of that, for people like me who come from America but have a different culture of heavily influenced European cultures that are not white British, but either white Spanish or white French, you are referred to as senora, senorita, you understand? Or madame or mademoiselle, which is the same social standing of the youth, the youth range of the woman. And it is proper etiquette and respect, because you would not want to call a woman 40 something Ms. like she's 12 or 14, Miss, right? Or a woman that's like anywhere in her 20s to her 40s, Ms. Because that's how it's supposed to be. Is Ms. whoever. Miss, like Miss, you miss me with that, Miss whoever as a little girl, Ms. for whatever 20 to 40, and Mrs. if she's married. Now, when they're just older women in general, the term is shortened from mademoiselle to madame to show the ultimate respect for that woman's age, the experiences that she has obtained in life, and the teachings that she can provide to you. Where I'm from is Shreveport, Louisiana. We only call auntie in our culture, not auntie out loud, but for people, not people, for actually women who were assigned to be our real godmothers. Okay? And most times when we have a godmother, we refer to them as Moselle, right? Because Moselle is a mixture of mademoiselle and mon, meaning my for whatever. Like my aunt, my mother, my cousin, my daughter. It's the prefix to a belonging. So we, even though, because we're Creole in culture, not Creole in thinking about how our skin, eyes, and hair looks, right? So we're Creole in culture because we have adopted a certain portion of French culture that was taught to us by the French Jesuit priests who colonized us, okay? So that's how we do it. So if ever you're in deep parts of Louisiana or you're in Shreveport and you actually are in the midst or among the black people there that speak American Creole, because not all of us do, and there is another French form of Creole language that the Cajun people speak, then you would know how to address them. You don't ever use ma'am to them. You use mademoiselle, okay? Or madame, right? It's a difference. Even though it's the same word, it's about the pronunciation, and that's called the dialect. But down there, if I had, and I do have a godmother, she's passed though, but if you have a godmother, if I was a little girl running around in Shreveport and I saw her, I would say, oh, Moselle, and then start talking to her, and she would understand. Same way as if I saw another woman that I did not know, and she started speaking to me in passing, depending on her age and sometimes even her status in the community. And you understand what I mean. If she was the preacher's wife, the mayor's wife, the councilman's wife, or she was an activist in the community, they are given the utmost respect, and you refer to them as madame, regardless of their age. So I'm just putting a little etiquette and cultural aspect to why people have adverse or dislike to being called auntie. Me, I don't like that shit. I really have a problem sometimes with people calling me sis and sister. And it's not because I don't see myself as your black woman sister, because I most definitely do. But it's because most times I believe that sometimes people say that out of maliciousness and having some other agenda, but they want to reel me in with this commonality of us both being black women. And you could say and think whatever you want about how I feel about that, but it is because of the innate hatred that has been taught to us and has become a part of us by the colonization of black women all over the world. Okay? Whether you coming from Africa, Asia, Australia, Europe, South or North America, or Alaska. It's just been taught to us that way. And until we realize that all these teachings from colonization and spending too much time around white people and their culture and their teachings of teaching us that we are inferior to them, only then will all these levels of disrespect and misunderstanding and refusing to acknowledge someone else's culture who may look like you will not go away. It's kind of like the same thing right now that I saw on YouTube in reference to that new girl Tyler, who's South African, and people had a problem with her being marketed as what they perceive to be an African American woman or R&B singer. And I kind of have mixed feelings about it, but I understand where both sides are coming from. As an American black woman, yes, I don't like when any singer, African or not, are influenced by our music, singing our music, and then we don't get real credit for it, And then I understand what the South African people are talking about when they say things like, this is their culture because she's a colored, right? Meaning that she's some type of mulatto or some type of octoroon or quadroon. So what it really means in South Africa is that she doesn't have parents, grandparents, or great-grandparents who are all black. So in their country, if you have any lineage any parenting that has another type of parent, a white person, any other type of parent, sometimes even in their culture, other tribes and etc., they consider you mixed, right? And it's really not about the color, because there are people that could be my color that can be mixed in South Africa as well, right? And unbeknownst to the African people, their belief culture, which was created by apartheid, that the apartheid people originated from studying the segregation, Jim Crow, and slavery in America created. Did y'all know that? America blazed the trail for many people's countries to be colorist to the level of segregation and discrimination. They did it in India, Germany, and South Africa. Like all these countries in the world that you know of where they practice extreme separation based off of people's color, their hair, their eye color, they all got that from American slavery. How about that? A little known American history fact for your ass right there. So with that logic, when I listen to them argue, my mind always goes back to the fact that, well, that would literally mean that almost all African American women in America would be considered colored in South Africa, especially me, because my mother's father is not black and my grandmother was a rape baby by a white man against her African mother. So you see what I'm talking about? So it is, when I say this, when I tell you this story, it's to bring this education I'm trying to provide to you, or new insight, 360 degrees. Because we all share the same colonized background. It's just the way that we categorize it and we deem certain levels or stratifications of our individual cultures as important and others as dismissive. We title one thing and another way, which leads us back to why Most black women in America who are of older age do not like being called auntie. Don't forget also that that title implies a level of responsibility to women younger than you that I think a lot of black women do not want to accept. And then when you start talking about that, that goes into a whole different level of psychological issues that that person may be suffering from due to individual traumas in their life. So don't always be so quick to judge and always think that all of us are the same just because we share the same shade. Because I've told you time and time again, I am very different from most African American women because of my culture, where I come from, and how I was raised, the additional language I speak, and how I believe that we are to really love and take care of each other outside of the way the majority of African American women think, where they're usually in competition with one another, hating on one another, and disliking one another due to the color of their skin, the texture of their hair, and the features of their face, and the worshiping or non-worshiping of useless black males. So it just is what it is. Just, in short, respect the other person's ability and right to say what they want to be called in life, and just go with it, because you wouldn't want anybody calling you anything you didn't want to be called, right? So it's really that simple. And shout out to the women who don't mind being called that, and shout out to the women who do mind being called that. And this madame is going to take her butt back and lay on this pillow for some more minutes. So